There we go. So that's us live, and welcome, my friends. This is Heather again. This is the Back to Me podcast. And today is another Celebrity Coach Chat, which you know is my favorite day because I get to talk to cool people. And it's the super amazing Dan Rogers, RX. I love the name of your company, rxRecourse. So instead of me introducing people, I always think like, you'll tell us so much about you. But first, I want to ask you, where did you come up with the name rxRecourse?
So the name, thank you for having me, first of all,
Oh,
Heather.
of course.
Really love to be able to get on these shows and talk about a variety of different topics. So really looking forward to chatting with you. And our name came from uh, prescribed help for people who are stressed out.
Oh, yes. Right. Because we're talking like everybody, pretty much, right? It's
Yes.
like
So
you're stressed out. We got you. We got
yeah.
you. So
Um, yeah.
we were talking a little bit before we went on, and I was like, oh my God, we better press record. So you told me you had a background in hockey first. Is that where you started into fitness?
So I'll give my a little
Yeah.
background story. So yes, hockey, played OHL, played CIS hockey. Was very fortunate to have a life that afforded me to play these levels and things like that. But my requirement for hockey was to be in good shape, and I took pride in that. And so along the journey with staying in shape for hockey, I found CrossFit. That's my traditional background. I've been doing that for over 12 years. I
Right.
don't do that with my clients, but that's how I kind of fell into coaching. And so that was a long time ago in 2008 or so. I took that with me to university, stayed in really good shape. I still would say I'm in really good shape and have been able to find opportunities over the years to be able to coach others in their own version of fitness at their own in their own journey. And so yeah, we started that. I had my own gym for over 7 years. Um, while we came into our first lockdown, we saw a lot of our members hurting emotionally, lack of access to resources for workouts, our corporate friends really struggling with work from home. We started rxRecourse, and we've been trying to help people in the corporate setting since. But my team environment, my successful team strategies for winning championships and being a good teammate and all those types of things, we've parlayed that into hopefully some successful corporate strategies to help with cultures and workplaces in a corporate setting.
So did you go mostly like you had a gym? So did you I think you closed your gym, right? Or is it still
Yeah, we did. So we were open 2014, and we were in
right?
Mississauga area, and we had that operating up until May 2021, and we decided to close for me to work on rxRecourse full time. It was a tough, probably the hardest decision of my life, and still there's other gyms opening and things like that operating. It's still challenging for sure, but it was the decision we decided to make that was best for our household.
Yeah.
And but it was definitely tough. So that was made with the fact that we had our recourse operating as well. So they were layered to each other. So we didn't have nothing to fall. I didn't have nothing to fall back on. I
Yeah.
had our recourse. But yeah, we had our own gym. It was a beautiful thing. I could talk for a lot of time, a lot of days. We had a really good thing going. We had a lot of success there. The members in the community was great. We had a competitive market doing very well. And we'll always be very proud of our accomplishments with that.
It is hard. I mean, running a bricks and mortar has lots of challenges. And when it does go, I mean, I had my own yoga studio for 10 years and I didn't get to make the choice myself of it closing. And I was like, no, I was like so upset for a little while. But then I was like, okay, you do that. We were talking mindset before we started. You do that little shift. Okay, well, I can't control that, or this is the right decision for right now. So how do I change over to the next thing? But before I forget, who did you play for the OHL?
So I was drafted by the Owen Sound Platers, who are
Ah,
now the Owen Sound Attack, and I played a year and a half there. And then I played a year and a half with the Belleville Bulls, who no longer have an OHL team. They moved to Hamilton, I believe.
oh, did they?
But then an AHL team came into Belleville, and now is the Ottawa Senators farm team.
Right.
So I played 3 years there, and then some years in Georgetown and junior A hockey in front and behind that, and then 4 years at Lakehead University up in Thunder Bay. If anyone,
Ooh, ah.
yeah, great times in both areas.
I try to explain to people that, you know, us Southern Ontarians think of North Bay, Thunder Bay as like way up there, even though it's not really that far away, but it just feels far away. I used to go watch OHL when I lived in Ottawa. That's why I was asking. I probably saw you at some point, right?
We would go play Ottawa after playing Belleville, then Kingston, then Ottawa, and then come home. So we were extremely tired, playing
No
3
kidding.
games in 3 nights, and that Sunday game would be live on national television.
Of course.
So we would get completely bulldozed in that game, and multiple times. That was how the schedule just worked out. And they were also, they had the highest scoring players on the team, as they're a good team themselves. But good memories from the OHL. If anything, it taught you how to be able to, manage your time with school and being on the road, and a lot of really good memories, a lot of really good people, and I'm very grateful for that, the opportunities that came from the OHL.
Yeah, totally. And be like performing at a higher level of fitness, like you have access to more. I mean, if you weren't not to not say OHL isn't important, but it's not like NHL level, but still you have access to like training and information and education and figuring out what works. Interesting that you do CrossFit for yourself, but not your clients. But I've been a personal trainer for about 15 years, so I understand why. But what kind of stuff so you're online now.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing corporate. Do you still see regular people as well? Right, regular people in quotation marks.
Yeah, I mean, and I owned a CrossFit gym.
Well,
So I owned a CrossFit gym for 7 years called CrossFit Streets, and I coached hundreds of people over the years to do CrossFit.
It's hard to do virtually, though.
It's hard to do virtually, and it's not the right thing for everybody. No. But not everybody from a virtual setting has access to A, B, and C for equipment. I'm not a CrossFit affiliate, therefore I'm not able to use that form of training. Right. My philosophies now have shifted to the fact that we do a consult to see kind of where we're at with why they're coming to me, if it's an injury, if it's performance, if it's general fitness, if it's weight loss, if it's building muscle, etc. We take that information, I assess if I can help, and then we would carry out our online training, just to touch on that, based on what they have access to. So if they have access to a gym or a home gym or not a whole lot, we would then be able to provide some sort of programming for them on a monthly basis, where it's 2, 3, 5 days a week, depending on the person. And so that's the gist of kind of that online virtual custom coaching situation. And it's not always fitness related, to be honest, Heather. There's a lot of times where my coaching is I'm accountability for them for a walk, people to get off of their vices, so to speak, like a lot of things that
these phones that we
not
carry
devices, vices. Yeah, well, that too. There is a device too. Like,
it is a vice and a device.
Yeah. So that type of thing, right? And to provide support. We're just kind of guides. As you coach for a long period of time, you figure out at some point that you're a guide, and you're not going to be able to tell people to do stuff, but you're going to be able to ask questions that prompt them to figure out the answers by themselves, and you kind of guide them that way. So that's where that goes. In person, I definitely coach in person. I've got a really great opportunity at a local gym here where I am at Onyx, and I'm super grateful there. Personal training, team training, and a couple classes that are themed around things that I like, and I like teaching others. And so I do that, and those are my.
It's nice that things are starting to open again.
Yeah.
Right now, as we're recording this, I think the mask mandates have come off. Mm-hmm. I guess we're coming up to about a week. And interestingly, I was at the gym this morning, and because did I tell you that I'm training for a 110-kilometer kayak adventure race?
It's first out. Oh my gosh!
I know. I'm still in shock that I'm like doing this. So I go to the gym nearby to get on the rowing machine and do some cardio. But people are coming back, and everybody seems pretty happy and being pretty respectful. So,
Yeah.
but I don't think we'll ever get away from, now that we've experienced it for 2 years, and we were talking about this a little bit in terms of podcasting and recording and interviewing. It's like the online has so many advantages. So I was in the gym earlier, and I'm on the rowing machine, and there's a girl, and she's got her phone leaned up against the wall, and I can see her trainer talking to her, and she's got her earbuds in, and she's doing her workout virtually with him. And he's like, no, tuck your belly in. Because I can see he's trying to correct her plank. But
Yeah.
I was like, wow, hybrid, go to the gym, but bring your trainer with you no matter where you are, right?
You can do that. I mean, I have some clients that I will meet face to face. The majority I don't. And I'm
Right.
doing check-ins with them once a month about the things that are going on in programming, and I'm getting video back and giving them feedback, but I'm not connecting schedule-wise with them. I couldn't handle a large quantity of clients, right? I don't have enough hours in the day.
Well, and it
But
makes it easier for them too, right?
yeah.
Because they know that you're going to be checking on them.
Mhm.
They know that you're looking after them. They know if something goes wrong, they can say, I blew my shoulder out, doing kettlebell swings or something.
Yeah.
And that you're like their expert, your cheerleader, your whip cracker, did you do your workout today?
People need it. I have 3 accountants that are my clients. It's accounting season. They are
Oh, I know.
bombarded with work, and they self-describe, say like, thanks for the reminder. That's the thing that got them to get to the gym and take a break, or a reminder at the start of the week. Hey, remember, 30 minutes or 15 minutes is better than 0. So try to give yourself something this week. And they say, thanks. That's the thing that gets people to be active.
It's
And it
true.
might be that little reminder.
It's true. I'm my first career, I was an accountant, so I know they're in the middle of tax season and blowing their brains out.
Oh my gosh.
And I had a client for a little while who I saw one-on-one, and I said, and she would come twice a week, and I said, you could do this at home. She said, no, I wouldn't. I have to come to see you. It's like, okay, valid. And so, do corporations hire you to come in, or do you just find that corporate people come to you, or do you kind of do the whole schmozzle?
We have established our company as being completely virtual, and that was to safeguard ourselves from lockdowns. So we had felt very intimately the impact of lockdowns with our physical space, CrossFit Streets being closed, open, close, and all that stuff. And we thought, well, let's protect ourselves long term. I want to be able to, if I want to, with my wife and I, go to a beach and still coach remotely for a week or two, and then come back and do whatever it is that we have going on in person. So that's what we're setting ourselves up for. Obviously, there's a growth process to get to that point, but that is the long-term thought for us where we want to gravitate to. So it's all remote. So what will have happen is we are in a call with teams, or we're overseeing programs or overseeing content distribution to the teams that we're working with. There are times and opportunities, I would think, now that things are opening up, for us to be on site. But we've never demanded that from any of the coaches. And we've communicated in advance to say, hey, we're fully remote. We're virtual. There's no requirement for you to go on site for anything. I might, but I don't see that being, the big portion of our business.
So is that corporate teams or sports teams or both?
Corporate teams.
Right.
The main thing is to be able to talk with a team lead that has identified that there's burnout, that the conversations are maybe, surrounding, everybody's working for the weekend and it's Friday and I can't wait to get to Friday. And there's this like inherent sigh of relief once they get to like reprieve from their workday, and there's just like bad habits all over the place, and people are maybe taking leaves of absence, like all these types of things.
And I also found, because I still operate as an RMT, and I found that a lot of the people who are coming to me working from home is going back to that reminder. They would not stop working.
Yeah.
They didn't have the boundaries in place because they hadn't experienced the work from home. I mean, entrepreneurs are notorious for it, that you work every single day and you forget to turn off the computer. It's time to go to bed. But if you were used to yeah, I know. It's like, when you're used to going to work as an office and coming home, you don't have that same kind of mindset of like, I don't have to work every minute of the day. I can actually close down. And I think some of the early burnout was coming from some of that. Plus, they didn't have a very good setup for their home office spaces. But so I was I was just thinking, like, we were talking mindset, like, do you help people figure out how to incorporate that kind of balance, I guess? How do you help them do that? I know that you do. So
So we would work with that corporate team and we would say, like, a lot of people want to take care of their health and wellness as an employee at a company. They want to, but they don't feel like they have time, direction, or permission.
Right.
Permission's a big one. And so we want to be able to work with team leads, who are the ones that we would seek out to as leadership group or person, to provide permission for the rest of the employees to take an hour to work on their wellness with us leading the ship for a health workshop, or collectively make it okay that within your time spent at work, you've got a period of time with which you can allocate towards the challenge with which we've rolled out, if it's a physical challenge, or they're providing resources for their team to be able to read or dive into at work, consumed and absorbed at work. And the permission is verbalized and written, documented. You have permission at this day and time or during the week to absorb this and take breaks, as one example.
Right. And it is important because like, I've had bosses where I thought they expected me to be, even before COVID, like, emailing you at 3 a.m. or calling and leaving you voicemails on the weekend. And if the boss doesn't recognize it, that's too much. Like, that's a challenge. That's a challenge to be in that situation. But it's so good that you actually incorporate that as, like, you have permission to do this. So to even take a lunch break, for God's sakes, like, come on.
Yeah. It's so the challenge part too, Heather, is like, okay, so you're in an office space, you have a meeting in boardroom 1, and you have another meeting with Joanne in her office. So there'd be a distinct, you physically get up and walk to that next office. So there'd be a break, right? There'd be a mental break, there'd be a time spent not in a meeting, etc. And you go to that Joanne's office, and now you're meeting with her, and then to Jim's office, etc. There's walking around.
You'd go get a coffee.
You might get a coffee. You might leave the facility for lunch or go for a walk, etc. A lot of that is now self-imposed breaks, with which have been minimized or diminished because you just close Zoom, open Zoom, close Zoom, open Zoom, and there's no time in between. My wife lives the life that I'm talking about.
Oh no!
So I'm very close to that on a daily basis. Sometimes I'm like, do you need anything? I have time during the day. What do you need? She's like, water. I haven't even had enough time in between calls to go get a glass of water. That's where corporate clients are at.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies. So what can we do? Well, we might not be able to necessarily negate the impact of that back-to-back stuff. We might not be able to help them with working better. We might not, but we can definitely help them live better with their time away from office hours.
Right.
So what can we do to help them recoup, recover, etc.? So we provide strategies, solutions, and considerations for before, during, and after their workday to help them with combating the stress that arises with these back-to-back calls, this change in dynamics to their workplace, and the impact of performance at their work in a corporate setting, etc. That's where we come in, and we work with them in a custom way that is based off surveys, response and feedback from the group, check-ins quarterly to make sure things that we're offering are benefiting the group, and we kind of navigate that to give a description to your audience here about what we do.
And are you finding, I find it as a massage therapist in my massage practice that I see the same thing a lot. I call them desk jockeys. So the office workers are like, you're an athlete that rides a desk. So you've got these commonalities of injuries or things that are going on. Do you see a lot of commonality with your corporate teams, or do you just see a commonality with people in general of what they tend to need or don't need? I guess.
So you could just assess the actual physical space that you're in for sitting. Even if you have a really nice chair, you're going to have a lot of things that are shut off and not activated or used during the day. You're going to have shortened areas, hip flexor,
Oh,
pec
yeah.
minor, rounded thoracic, posterior chain. Everything gets like a little bit off of what is optimal. So that's common amongst all people. And then people are curled up on their couch and thinking, typing for 8 hours, why does my back hurt? So that
Oh my
too.
gosh, they don't, do they?
The lack of activity too throughout the day, with the fact that there are back-to-back calls, there's a lack of like just general walking, and it has to be like really structured into somebody's day for it to take place. And so these are common things. And then I think another common thing, Heather, is just like mindset stuff. So it's a lot of I've really been distraught over the last couple of years of the ins and outs, the impact on my children, the impact on my future. Where does this all go long term?
Lots of unknowns, right?
Job stability, unknown, global, all this stuff. Everybody's kind of like and doing this, and that's been a big factor. And people have been burnt out, worn out, and banged up from the last 2 years and beyond. Even before COVID came to Canada and we had lockdowns, there were still people that were existing in corporate setting that were challenged. So now we
added a whole layer, right?
Added a whole layer, and it kind of put a lot of people over the edge. And I'm a big mindset guy. I have a lot of different strategies, and I do things to help me stay in a good spot. And so we thought, let's get this out there to them and talk to these people and lift their spirits and give them strategies and hear them and try to give them some solutions. And that's independent, maybe sometimes one-on-one, and that's sometimes group stuff that we can disclose. And it's really, really nice to have I just ran a stress and mindset workshop yesterday for a group that we have, and it was in the moment. And part of the in the moment stuff was cookie jar. You've done this before successfully. Don't forget that. Whatever you're working on is a challenge. You've done that before successfully. Remember that. And then we go through different tidbits of things they can remember in the moment, and we review that and a variety of other things as well to help with mindset, because that's been the thing we've seen that's been the biggest.
We talked a little bit at the beginning, like you mentioned your podcast. When did you start your podcast? I'm assuming it was in the middle of COVID.
So my podcast, I guess, was just whoever would hear me before in person, and now it's just become recorded. So so really honestly, about 3 months ago, we started with the idea that I had a podcast idea. I'd written out the business plan, so to speak, with who I wanted to interview and what the premise of it was. And it's called Mindset Matters. I want to have it be, providing bright spots. And I want to have there be an interview or a topic that helps lift up the audience's spirits, has them have a little bit more tools in their tool belt for navigating the challenges that exist in their day, whether it's professional, home life, or anything else, and have them feel as if there are strategies and tools that they can use to combat that, or have themselves see through a different lens. So that started about 2 months ago, and it's been recorded, and then the back end now is going to be made live on YouTube, Spotify, etc. Moving forwards the next couple months.
All of the places.
All the places,
it's in all of the places.
Gosh.
And I mean, it's interesting because I started this, I think, officially became a podcast in just this past fall. I had been doing live stream videos every week to try and just say, hey, here's an idea. Hey, here's an idea. Hey, here's an idea. And knowing that in social media, things get lost a lot, but knowing that even if one person heard it, and even if they didn't do anything that day, it's like plants a little seed for them.
Yes.
And one day they might just go, oh, I remember something. Like the day they need it, it will show up hopefully in their brain, and they'll say, somebody said, I don't care if they even remember it was me. Somebody said something once that I could do that to help me with this. And like me, whenever I hear stuff, I've got these Post-it notes all around my desk. It's like the I am enough with the little heart. And one of my favorite ones is your ego only sees what it can lose, never what it can gain. So all of these little motivational things that spoke to me at some point. So I stuck them up to remind me. I even have like all these little cards. Like this was my one today about being, letting go of being right.
Yeah.
So it's just like, Apparently that's a big deal for me. As being the oldest of 4 children. You
That's
gotta always be right. No, you don't.
Heather, there's so much going on in what you just said. One, letting go of being right as a way to live your day a little bit easier and a little
Oh
bit
yeah.
lighter. And you just
Like you
melt
just
and calm down a bit, right? You're just, decompress. But then recognizing the impact of where you are in your siblings, like in that,
responsibility
in the
ladder.
upgrade, right? You were saying it just recognizing why am I the way that I am from doing a little bit of a dive into adolescence and how you were brought up and all that stuff to understand a little bit more about yourself, which not a lot of people do. We
No.
not at all. And they're thinking, why am I reacting this certain way? Well, we're big advocates of, I would say, personal growth, right? Like trying to improve and be a better version of yourself. And that's at different times for everybody. But those two things stand out, like that if you can have there be this understanding of what it is that you want to improve at. Part of my point today was don't let or make a weakness list. Make a list of all the things you're not that good at and that you want to be good at professionally, financially, socially, physically, everything. Make that list, not to dwell on it or feel bad about it, but to be a little bit more guided on the things that are going to make you more well-rounded if you allocate more time and energy towards it. So your weakness list could have 1 to 3 topics per thing, per segment, and you could just continue to revise and refer to that list to make yourself a more well-rounded version. Letting go of being right could be a thing that weighs on you. At the end of the day, like, gosh, I had 3 situations and I could have just let it go, but I didn't. So that's a thing you're working on. And others, I would say, aren't working on those things enough to be like a well-rounded, maybe like calmer version of themselves. And it's a great practice.
Right. And I don't think I've ever heard it framed that way. I've heard people say, and maybe it was more from a business context, operating in your zone of genius. If you're not good at it, get somebody else to do it. But you can't do that for self-development,
No,
right? Can I
no.
just outsource that?
Yeah.
I heard at one point that somebody had this business where they could outsource arguments with their spouses. I thought, it's like, are you kidding me? It was a thing, apparently. You could outsource an argument with your spouse to get somebody else to do it. But it is true. Like, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and nobody else is putting that pressure on us, right? It's just like, it's all you. Sorry. And I think instead of calling it a weakness list, I might call it an opportunity list.
Absolutely.
Like these are things that and the first thing I did something recently where I was talking about the first step is you got to have an awareness. If you don't realize that there's something that you're not great at or that you could improve at, then you'll just stay that way. But if you keep banging up against the same thing, maybe just stop hitting your head against that thing, step back and go, what is that thing I keep banging into? Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, there's a big wall there. Where did that wall come from? Did I build that wall myself? I know my metaphors jump all over the place. I'm like, I can interweave metaphors like crazy, but be aware of it. But that doesn't, like, once you know, you can't unknow it, right? So don't ignore it. Don't let it, I guess, become something that, like that you said, being right. Don't let it weigh you down. Think of it as wow, that's kind of cool. That's interesting. I wonder what I can do with that information. Like, I recognize where a lot of my foibles come from because I've done a lot of introspection over the last 20 years.
Yep.
So, but I still discover new things.
Yes.
Like, all the time I'll go, holy moly, I never noticed that thing before, right? And I don't want there to be an end, because if there's an end, that probably means I'm dead, which is
yeah, exactly. I mean, the whole I think about, I do introspection a lot, and I think about where am I right now today? I'm 38 in May. Where am I right now? Where do I want to be? And knowing that whatever I'm doing and going through and working on in my call it your opportunity list, what are my strengths? They don't have to be the same in 5-10 years. Allow yourself to evolve. allow your story to change. And the exciting part is opportunityless. It's excitingly up to you. It's in the best possible way. It's on you, and it's gonna be you who goes through that, like decides to change, writes down what it is that you want to change in terms of opportunities, does it, and then gets on the other side and has this new version of yourself. You don't have to have the same version of yourself from 5-10 years. And too many people get stuck on it with a lot of different things in their life, and we're trying to not change everybody with conversation, I would say, but just allow yourself permission to have some evolution as a human, and growth in different areas.
And sometimes I think, like, you actually, because I just taught yoga a little while ago, you won't be the same in 5 years. It's just it's impossible, because unless you've, even if you lock yourself in a room for 5 years, you're not going to be the same person 5 years later. But you can go through those 5 years mindlessly and just kind of not paying attention, or you can go through those 5 years with it's some degree of intentionality, not trying to achieve some pinnacle of anything. Just, I think of it as a curiosity and exploration. So the let go of being right thing, I've had that thing on my wall for about 5 years, but I still look at it and go, oh yeah, I still need my reminder. Even 5 years later, I get better and better and better.
Yep.
I'm moving towards my goals. My coach, because of course I think all coaches should have coaches. My coach is like, your goal is out there in the future, and you're here, and it looks like this giant thing that you can't cross. But really, you only have to take one step.
Yeah.
And then you're that much closer. It's like, okay, fine.
It's tough, right? Like we equate that to getting somebody to be active as well. That one step thought process. That the definition of the hard part with being active is that it's got to check so many boxes. There's all the deterrents that exist, weather, clothing, structure, etc. And we said, listen, you open your door, you put shoes on, you go out for a walk. That's step one. You do that 7 days in a row, you're going to feel a heck of a lot better doing 7 days in a row of a walk to get yourself started to be active, building your habit, versus one Wednesday where you worked out for 2 hours and it was this big orchestra of strength, yoga, etc. It's going to feel a heck of a lot better checking off that box 7 days in a row of a minimal amount of activity than that one big day. So let's allocate these personal growth tactics and this personal growth strategies with which exist with just chipping away at being better to activity. Let's see if we can just get our minds change about activity as well. And that's what we kind of work on is with groups who are maybe some people are not active to get their feet wet with it.
And it is interesting. People have this idea that, it's going to be, it's such a big thing to get a workout in. It's like, I have to get on my workout gear and I have to get my gym bag, and oh my God, I forgot my lock if you're going to the gym.
Yeah.
And this and this and this, like they just see it as this big event where it's true. I don't even sometimes put on my shoes, just go outside, right?
Yeah. And
watch out for glass. But but also I was thinking about this, the weakness is opportunityless, whatever you want to call it. You have these things you want to work towards that, your goal is off in the future. And I mean, we both are kind of in some way saying it. You don't have to do it alone, right? That's what coaches are for. It doesn't even always have to be a physical goal. Like whatever you want to improve or work on doesn't mean you have to do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
There's people, I surround myself with amazing people. And it's not always going to be your family and friends, because they might not understand what the heck you do. Right. So I don't think my family, if they're listening, I love you all, but I don't think they understand exactly what I do.
Same.
Right.
My dad
My
thinks I
husband
do
does,
jumping jacks on. My dad thinks I do jumping jacks on Zoom.
You do, don't you?
I do. I can, but that's the main thing. The things that I pay for my mortgage with doing jumping jacks on Zoom.
Right. Totally. So, but you surround yourself with people who get what you're trying to do. hold you accountable, hopefully, and support you. So you're not going to have to do it alone. Like, I'm in this group. Do you know, have you met Karen Ide? You must have met Karen Ide at some point. She,
I haven't. I don't think I can remember. No, sorry.
okay, that's all right. She's been in some of the same groups we've been in together. I interviewed her a couple of weeks ago, and she has a little, every Monday to Friday, it's 9 a.m. People come into a Zoom room that she just opens up, and we just like say, "You're awesome. Who needs help today? If you're feeling down today, text me and I'll phone you and I'll give you a pep talk." It's just like all it is a half hour of making each other, raising the vibe to get your day started. And that's the kind of people that I want to have for me.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Like, isn't that a great place to be? Social audit. Hey, let's talk about it. A social audit. The 5 to 10 people you spend the most time with when you have the decision to spend time with people. Assess that group. If those people aren't lifting you up, you're not talking ideas, you're not doing things that are in line with who you want to be and what you want to become, do an audit. Less duration and less frequency. Like with the group with which I'm around, I'm hoping to be around people who are better financially than I am,
Oh,
that
yeah.
are better family people than I am, better athletes than I am,
Play better golf.
Play better golf, everything. I want to be around all those people and try to keep up in the best way, right? In a way that it's going to benefit me personally as I grow as a person and become a better version of the one person I want to be in the ways that I want to become better. So, but yeah, like a social audit is invaluable. And like, who do you want to be? If you're constantly in the middle of these draining conversations or social situations or whatever it might be, and you don't want to be that in them, and they takes things out of you, and they're not lifting you up and they're bringing you down, do an audit. Right. And then assess and address. And then you seem to have that figured out. And that's a great message. I think that is challenging because it comes with guilt with not spending time with people that you've previously spent time with and being judged from those people. But you got to be like, this is me. This is me. I got to do me.
One of the last things on there's lots of words on the back of this let go of being right card is let yourself be who you are, right? And it's true. It is hard. Like you can't choose always who you spend your time with, coworkers, you can't always choose. Although these days maybe you can. There seems to be what's the mass exit going on.
Yeah.
You can't always choose your immediate family, and some of them may not be all that uplifting. But you can choose a lot of who you interact with. And you can also choose, even if you're with people that and I've been doing this experiment the last while, even if you're not with people who you want to be with, can you be the person you want to be with those people?
Yeah.
Because they might not be elevating you, but you might help elevate them.
Exactly.
And then I'll go back and I'll spend the time with people I need to bring me back up. But if I can keep my vibe high with those people, then my vibe muscles are that much stronger, right?
That's a great point. It's a great point. You can't control the situation at times. You can control your reaction and interaction with that situation, right? Yeah. Like I can be, you're right. That's a great point. Sometimes you're the one that's doing the lifting. That's what you are. You're a coach, right? You have to inherently think in situations throughout the day that it's not always going to be you getting the reciprocated lift. But you can go that's a great point. I love that. That message should be like highlighted. That,
so writer downer.
if you're good, I say to people, like, if you're good, you're good, but go help someone else.
Yeah.
If you're good and you got these things locked in, your mindset's great, your nutrition's great, your activity's on point, great. Go loop somebody else on the great things that you're doing, like to get them out with you for the activity, or to get them to maybe like consider something for nutrition, or maybe have them, buy into a little bit of the mindset stuff. Like if you're good, share it and be able to try to lift others up, because not enough people like at times hoard those good things.
Right. And that's why I like, so my secret world takeover plan as a coach is that ripple, right? It's like, if I help these people and lift them, and then they go out and help. So my program is called Back to Me. The program that I run for my stressed out women is like, if they can look after themselves better, in whatever aspect it is. It's not all physical, right? We know it's not always physical.
Yeah.
Physical, emotional, spiritual, relationship, financial, professional. Those are the 6 categories I work with. If I can help them elevate themselves, then even if they're not intentionally doing it, they're going to be at a higher vibe when they interact with their people, and maybe they lift them up. And then I just see this ripple effect. And, in my fantasy life, world peace. But I know that's going to take some time if I'm only seeing a few people at a time.
Yeah.
But the more people who are doing it, which is all the people I love talking to on the podcast, is like the more people rippling it outwards, the bigger the wave of awesomeness happens.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody's going to want to, here comes another metaphor. Not everybody's going to want to surf that wave, but there will be people who jump on and say, yeah, I can do that. I feel great. I want to help more people feel great. Doesn't mean you all have to become coaches or trainers or anything.
Gosh, no. Keep doing what you're doing. Yeah.
Just be awesome at being you, right? I remember even moms, like people, stay-at-home moms used to be, maybe, I don't know if it's still true, but they'd be like, oh, I'm just a stay-at-home mom. I'm in this women's networking group. She said, I'm just a stay-at-home mom. I'm like, that's an important job.
Yeah.
Like, don't bring that job down to I'm just a, like, that's a giant job. And if you are a super amazing, the best you can be mom, then that's going to help those kids be amazing people. So everybody's got a role to play. Like, I used to be an accountant. Right now we still need accountants in the world, and I love accountants, but I don't want to be an accountant. I want to help people in a different way. Yeah. But thank goodness for accountants that they're helping people in the world, right? And you're helping accountants.
Yeah, I'm helping accountants be able to find a little bit of, some of my clients are accountants. I think we talked about this offline, and it's a busy time for them. So my check-in points are more frequent with them, and they're in a way that respects the fact that they do have more on their plate. And it's just gentle nudges towards using activity as a way to relieve stress, take time for themselves to be able to stay focused on being a good accountant, being a good father, and then, making sure that they're doing their own personal wellness. So that's that kind of relationship with that group. I love the trickle effect. That's why we had a gym. I still feel that I have a big, long life of coaching ahead of me, and I've been doing it for 12 years full time now. And I see that with a person who I coached when they were 16, who now is a coach of a hockey team.
Cool.
24, who's coaching AAA and is a teacher and has this positive, great impact with which I was able to help nurture at their younger age. And there's countless stories with which exist as you go along in your coaching journey. And it's cool to hear how it plays itself out. But moms at home, side bit, if a mom is like struggling in a workout, or they have in the past in workouts, even now too, I'm like, you had a baby. You had a baby. This is a couple lunges and a something, you can do this. And not in a way like, remember you had a baby, like you can, it's impressive. So anyways, like, not enough credit, and people don't get part of the mindset talk that I've given is give yourself a pat on the back once in a while. Like, some recognition goes a long way with, that you did your best for the day with what you were setting out to do. That was your best. It's a 4 agreement stuff, right? Like, do your best. So that's what your best was. You can't do more than that. Pat on the back, great job. Next day, I might have a better version of my best, but that was my best. Moms don't do it enough. Dads don't do it. Not enough people are giving others their recognition. So you need to do it yourself to create these good vibes within internally that you can now go feel good about yourself going through your day. And I think there's a lot of value in that. And but that ripple effect of you coaching others is a great thing. That's why I coach. It's a big reason why I coach, and it's a big factor.
It's so true. And you don't always know the impact you're going to have, which is okay, because I don't have go all Buddhist. I don't have an attachment to the outcome, but I'm still going to keep working on that outcome. And I just remember, because you don't know the impact you have on people all the time, right? Even if you just smile at someone, you don't know how that rippled out, where it's like a random stranger walking through the park. But when I worked one of my corporate jobs when I first moved to Toronto a whole long time ago, I only planned to stay in Toronto 2 years, by the way. I've been here like 25. So this was one of my first ever management jobs, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I was not in the greatest of environments, and I felt stressed out, overworked. Like it was not a great environment. But I tried to look after my staff as best as I could, never having been a manager really. And a few years later, one of my employees got hired in a company, like I hadn't seen her in years and years. But the person who hired her came back to me and said, "Oh, she mentioned you in her interview and said you're the best boss she ever had." And I was like, "What? I didn't know what the hell I was doing."
Yeah.
But because I was just trying my best to be the best I could be,
Yeah.
she picked that up and I supported her somehow. And like, you don't know what impact you're going to have. So
Absolutely.
I just think of that all the time. I'm like, and it's so true. You don't ever, people don't stop and celebrate. Even if they do some huge thing, it's like, whoa, like I worked out today. Take at least 5 seconds and go, yeah, and like enjoy that, right?
Yes.
Or whatever it is that you achieved today. We don't ever pause to give ourselves credit for our awesomeness. We're always jumping to the next thing. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's like we can easily blame social media for everything,
Yeah.
but maybe it's not social media. Maybe it's just we're these machines. Next, 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 next,
We're
next,
like
next.
in the production line of like just existing in that kind of, lack
That's
of
a
a better
good
term,
word.
rat race, right? Of just like, okay,
Yeah.
next, say, whoa, 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 whoa. If I want to enjoy my time in this setting at 2:31 on Friday, give yourself a pat on the back. How good does it feel to take the moment on the thing that you did well, breathe, and like enjoy that you did a good job on the thing you set out to do? Good job. Like, and then you don't have to dwell in it the whole day or swim in it, but you can be in it for a bit and then like move on with the rest of your day. But that creates vibe after vibe after vibe of really good things for you and personal confidence and just feeling good about your time on earth and not like just always living in the past or in the future. Right there for a moment, and then you can get back to business.
Yeah.
And it's such a good habit to practice for all things. Let's just think about the things that are challenging about getting a workout done. There is your soreness, there is your mood, there is kids and animals in your house, there is a commute, there's the weather, there's if you have clean clothes, there's the workout. What am I going to do for my workout? And the list goes on. So if you got the workout done, great job. Like, give yourself a pat on the back. It's not easy at times, and that's a really good practice to disclose to the audience here.
Yeah. When I finish a workout, because right now I told you I've been on the rowing machine, I take a picture of I go back to the memory and I take a picture of the workout. And I'm not looking for approval, but I send it to the woman that I'm doing the race with she's my workout. She's in Calgary right now. She's my workout buddy, even though
Yeah.
she's like halfway across country. I'm like, here's what I did today. And she says, yeah, even if I sucked, she goes, yeah.
Yes. I get 10 texts a day for over 10 years from different people in a week. I would say that I get 20 to 30 in a week, right? And it's just random. Sometimes it's every day from people that are taking pictures of the workout they did. And I'm their person. I said, continue to make me that person, not paid
Yeah.
clients. They're not paid clients. They're just like fitness accountability buddies.
And
And I do the same. It's helpful.
this is you surrounding yourself with the people who are going to support you and also celebrate you. So I'll lift you up if you need a hand, but also cheer you on from the sidelines while you're killing it, right?
Yeah.
Which is another part of my favorite things. One, these are a few of my favorite things. No. We were singing this morning, that group of that I meet during the week to like raise our vibe. This morning we were singing on Zoom, K Sarah Sarah with Doris Day. Like, you just
Yeah.
gotta bring it out there and have a good laugh and have a really good time.
Yes.
Because life is too short
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
like be unhappy all the time.
Yeah.
I understand some days I'm in a bad mood and I might be crabby, but I try not to spend more than like half a day there. It's
Yeah.
like if I recognize it, I'm like, ugh, this doesn't feel good. What can I do?
Yeah.
Like, how can I switch it? Sometimes it's just putting on Zumba music or something, right?
You want to talk about music as an influence for mood? I mean, that's the thing that prior to even stepping into the gym could be the thing that just gets you feeling better about going to start a workout, or relaxes you. I listen to Van Morrison as a go-to live Van Morrison,
Right.
and it takes
Showing
me
your
away.
age, man.
It's really good. And it's really, really relaxing. And I go to it at times where I know I need to regenerate from coaching, because you give a lot out. So you need to
Yeah.
regenerate. And but like I lean on it. I lean on these deep dives into some live music of stuff that is really good for what I think my soul. And it's a valuable tool that is not like heavy metal or anything else, but like something that either lifts you up and you're moving or just relaxes you a bit. And I really like hearing about what those things are for others. I ask that question a lot. Country music gets chopped up. I had a 0 to 100 rating in a class last week, and I got like a bunch of 2s and 5s.
I know. I play. Have you seen Brokenwood Mysteries? I think it's
No.
on Acorn TV. It's a New Zealand murder mystery, but the head detective plays country music, and I liked it so much that I downloaded the soundtrack. But when I play it in my Tai Chi classes, they're like, "What's with the country music?" I'm like, "But it's so good."
With like what you said about there's bad days, right? And that you're gonna go through that. That's kind of like, for me, what I feel like country music represents is that there's gonna be things that happen. You're gonna lose your dog. You're gonna get stuck in the mud. You're gonna,
Truck's gonna break down.
whatever. Life, right? Like surfing, and then going through it, and it's gonna pass. If a really good day happened, that's gonna pass. A really bad day happens, that's gonna pass. You feel really good, right? Like, so that kind of is what country music is for me. And I like it, but I don't lean on it by any means as if I would.
And everybody's got their own jam on what they like to listen to. So when I'm rowing, I listen to Eminem. I know, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm chilling, I listen to country music. Or if I need to up my mood, I listen to Zoo. Like, it's all over the place. It's so funny. If I need to concentrate, I listen to Mozart. Like,
Yes, that's
right?
another factor too. Yeah, I listen to instrumental hip hop. So it's just the background, like jazz instrumental hip hop, and it's just got good kind of ongoing, but no lyrics whatsoever, and it just kind of flows through. But it's good concentration, let's say, stuff. It's really nice. Like, I love talking about music and the fact that everyone's got a different like experience with it, and concerts they've been to, and what works for them in certain times in their day, and what memories come back from it. It's a really cool. I think that's like really hits home with a lot of people.
And it's like something that, because I think we started talking about this, like, if you're feeling down, what do you do? Like, put on something that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Because music shifts you so fast, and music can shift your mood, can shift your concentration. You can feel like, I can't do this workout. You put on the right tune and you'll kill it.
It could happen.
Right? Yeah. I mean, a lot of the can'ts are all up here in your brain, not in your body. Your body will go, heck yeah, I can do it. That's how that dude did that plank for what? How long did he do that plank for?
I don't know.
24 hours or something ridiculous. He was a Navy SEAL guy. It's like, how did he go to the bathroom? But these are the things I think about. But seriously, like, find what works for you. Maybe it's calling a friend. Maybe it's calling a coach. Maybe it's having a mentor. Maybe it's I meditate in the morning to like get my day started going the right direction. Maybe it's just a glass of water. Sometimes a glass of water is all I need to perk me up.
Yeah.
But it's going back to the awareness thing. It's like awareness of how you're feeling first. Like, first you got to know where you are. Then once you identify that, like, what's your solution? What's your next step to get you having the day that you need to have, or the thing you need to do, or what's going to be best for you, right?
Okay, so I'm going to go into my coaching background here. And we would be, if I had a new person come into the gym that was building a habit, am I going to present them with all their weaknesses every time they come in? That's going to be not fun. Some skill
They're not
development.
coming back.
You're not coming back and it's going to be boring. They might stick around because you're grinding it out, but there's a lot of times where it's not enjoyable. And I need that experience to be repeatedly enjoyable and them working at skill development, but it's mixed in a way that works for that person, etc. But just knock things out of the park sometimes. Pick things that you're really good at and just do them. Don't always be working on weaknesses and opportunities. Not you really like one meal or one thing that you do or whatever it might be, and you're not feeling that good about yourself, do a thing you're really good at. That's it. And like do it again the next day and continue.
And enjoy it.
Yeah, and enjoy it. Like you don't always have to work on weaknesses or opportunities or grind away at skill development. Just knock it out of the park with something you know you're going to knock out of the park. And so like give yourself that once in a while. Those bright
and then celebrate.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then do something hard.
Yeah.
The next day.
Yeah. It's just, too much time grinding away at your opportunities and things like that, which can put a little bit of sludge in your day. So it's nice to have there be these times where you feel good about yourself with a thing you're going to knock out of the park.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So good. Oh my gosh. So many things, so many ways we go. Like I knew when I was going to talk to you that we could talk forever, but I want to respect your time. So I'm going to your website is rxRecourse.com. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
And it's going to be in the chat boxes. And if you missed the chat box, check out the announcement. So for sure. And it'll be in the show notes everywhere this shows up. You'll be able to know how to get a hold of Dan. And I'm going to put in the location of your podcast too, if it's up and ready to roll.
I will send that to you.
Yeah, send that over to me because people are always looking for podcasts, and and I'm not offended by it in any way. Not everybody loves me, but they might love you. So I want them to connect with you.
Thanks for that. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I love talking about this stuff, and hopefully there's things that came up in conversation that resonate with the audience and help them with their day to live a better day. Because we're just trying to help, as coaches, help people, and that's what wakes me up in the morning.
That's what we're doing. That's everything we're looking to do. Thank you so much, my friend. Such a good conversation. I'm sure we're going to do it again at some point.
Awesome. Thanks, Heather.